Mount Vernon. Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate our nation's independence.
Good day, sir.
Good day.
First Virginia? Yes, sir.
Yes.
First Virginia at your service. Start down on the far left. Okay. Ah!
You are captain of the gun? Would you have your lawful seat? Well now. Well, I hope I'm looking at the back of the book. There we are. Everything in order. Very well done. Yeah. So would you take a look at this master? A bit of rust to be popping off. I see some new faces along the way. Very well done, sir. Very sharp looking through. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mount Vernon. I am so very pleased that you have decided to join us on this, our Independence Day anniversary. Yes, you are allowed to clap for that indeed. I do see a great number of you have chosen to wear red today. Gentlemen, please be cautious not to fire upon the people like that in the view. In just a moment, you are going to be read the Declaration that was adopted upon this day in 1776 by a man who will need no introduction, for you will recognize him on sight. As you hear these words, I beg that you take a moment and think upon what it was like in that year. To declare ourselves independent of a nation that was one of the most powerful upon earth. To declare ourselves independent of all we had previously known as our government and as our country. Here in Virginia, it took some time before we recognized the need that impelled us to separation. But we recognized it. We were very swift to embrace it. As you listen to the words, hear again the moment remember that there was a time when saying them and reading them aloud like this was considered by some an act of treason. If I might call for, sir, the field is yours. I would recommend you take a spot in the shade, sir.
Well, I would love that. And indeed, I'm looking for a spot. I'm afraid, though, by the time I get there, it's going to move. But I shall try. And I thank you so much for the invitation. It's my pleasure to be here after all these years. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, I don't have to tell you the effect of this simple piece of paper, the words of which reached King George and changed our lives forever. I shall read it to you, though I'm quite sure you're familiar with the words. Ladies and gentlemen, please listen for the underlying responsibility that we all share as I read these words to you. In Congress, July 4, 1776, a declaration by the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them to another, and to assume among the powers of the earth a separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the situation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their full and just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter it, to abolish it, and to institute new governments, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to then proceed most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for life and transient causes, and accordingly all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. In a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new gods for their future security. Such has been the patient suffering of these colonies, and such is now the necessity to which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, while having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be presented to a candid world. He has refused his assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and peremptory importance unless suspended in their operation, till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended he has utterly neglected to attend to them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with these measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise. The state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasions from without and convulsions within, raising the conditions of new appropriations of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their office and the amount and payment of their substance. He has kept among us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. He has affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation. For quartering large bodies of armed troops among us, for protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit in the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes on us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of trial by jury, for transporting us beyond seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies, for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our government, for suspending our own legislature and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burned our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people. He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy, scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy of the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioners of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections among us and has endeavored, whole known rule of warfare, to bring on the inhabitants of our frontiers the merciless Indian savages whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people.
What's that?
Move, King George!
Nor have we been wanting in attention to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable justification and jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity and we have conquered them by the ties of our common kindred, we disavow these usurpations which would invariably interrupt our connection and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of continuity. We must therefore acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do in the name and by authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states. That they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. And that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and to do all other acts and things which independent states may outright do. And for the support of this declaration, and with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Signed by order on behalf of the Congress, Ron Hancock, President, attested by Charles Thompson, Secretary, and printed in Boston. I'm sure you can get a copy. John Gillen, Hogarth, and Willis would be very happy to sell it to you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Declaration of Independence. Not only is it something worth celebrating, but it's something to know and to remember that there's an obligation here to support. Thank you. Thank you, President. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us today, sir. My great honor to have you here. And my pleasure, indeed. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that declaration was not a statement of what we had achieved. It was from its very beginning a declaration of who we wish to be. That was the bar that was set. The pin in the distance, our goal. Later on, the Articles of Confederation, and then finally, our Constitution are merely designed to see a government raised up that respected and saw those rights enumerated and mentioned in the Declaration as a government that was not hostile towards them, but one that supported them. These are your foundations. And as long as the foundations are strong, the house can weather any storm. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a happy Independence Day. And may we all meet again next year in health, in prosperity, and in joy. Good day.
Careful! Shoulder! Para! All right. Take up distance.